one.
Okay, it is now. It is now 6:30 and today is February 12th, 2024. We're doing the review of the minutes from 12/18/23. Are there any questions on the meeting? On the minutes? Did you get minutes?
Yep, I am, but I'm gonna abstain.
You got it, okay.
I wasn't there.
Okay. Good. Any questions on the meeting? And can I go to acceptance?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
George, do I hear a second?
I think that's okay. I was waiting for first off to finish reading. Okay, so these have been accepted at the
So-
7:30.
How do you vote, Dave?
Aye.
How do you vote, George?
Aye.
How do you vote, Christoph?
Abstaining.
Very good.
Send that back to her, then I won't lose it for later. Okay, next we have a COC request of 58 Old North Road, lot 11, 304, 024. Now, this was one that was built many years ago. And it has wetlands at the bottom going under the driveway. We went down to check it out. It's working fine. And the people never registered it in Worcester at the registry, so.
So that's that paperwork you have right in front of you.
That's just
So you're
right
left,
here,
yep, if you want to show Christoph and
Yeah.
Dave.
and it's right here,
Pictures right behind the application too, if that's helpful.
and here's the pictures of it here. There's the river, and those are
It's a pipe under driveway.
there's two pipes, in fact, there's three pipes under the driveway.
Okay.
There's all of them above it is down road on, believe it or not, Route 2, that you see Genie's Hunch. All that water always drained down this way here. So they put these in to be able to put two houses up on the hill. Yes, so it was never registered.
Nobody
remember that
asking
The last two on,
asking someone to register it with the
So,
well, he wants to sell it. In order to sell it, they gotta go down and register it at the Worcester, which should have been done when they was first bought by
So-
the last owner.
once the order of conditions is issued and the project is complete, I have to come back and request the certificate of completion.
Mhm.
And the original builder never did it. So this man lived here his whole life. He passed away, and now the daughter wants to sell the house.
We just need a retroactive.
Yeah, so
That'd be right.
Mr. Andrews and I went down and did the sidewalk. Those are what the pictures that you see. And over 10 years later, it's a beautiful culvert
yeah,
on
so-
both sides flowing.
It's the best running one I've seen in
I
London.
mean, the man, God bless his soul, kept it clean his whole life.
Okay.
There's no signs that the driveway's caving in, anything.
Okay.
It looks great.
Great.
Yeah.
So would you accept a vote to approve that?
Does anybody want to make a motion to approve this deal?
I'll make a motion to approve. The COC. I'll second that.
Discussion?
I will also. Hopefully, do it.
How do you vote, Dave?
Aye.
How do you vote, Christoph?
Aye.
How do you vote, George?
Aye.
Am I not loud enough? Here you go. You pass that down. George, do you want to read the title of number 3, please?
Number 3, a 98 for 31 Patriots Road for the construction of a 17 by 20 addition. The request is to determine whether the area depicted is subject to jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act.
Okay, to open up the meeting, I will read the legal notice. 31 Patriots Road, request for determination of applicability. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, that a public hearing will be held on a request for determination of applicability filed by Trevor Fletcher of GRAZ Engineering LLC on behalf of Tammy Byers of Templeton. Project location is 31 Patriots Road, Templeton. Description of project is the construction of a 17 by 20 addition. The request is to determine whether the area depicted is subject to the jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act. The hearing will be held on February 12th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at Templeton Town Hall. Any person wishing to be heard concerning the above application should appear at the time and place indicated above. The request for determination of applicability is available for public review at the Development Services Office, Room 3, 160 Patriots Road during regular office hours. The RDA is also available upon request from J. Case at templetonma.gov. George Andrews, Chair, Templeton Conservation Commission. With us this evening, we have Paul GRAZ from GRAZ Engineering.
Good evening.
Even. Long time no see.
So we took a look at the stream that runs adjacent to, well, near the addition, and so we submitted an RDA for determination. So, and the reason for that is the stream, looking at the USGS, and we've attached that to our copies on the second page there. You'll see that the stream is indicated as a dashed dot stream, which means it's intermittent, versus a solid dark blue line, which normally means perennial. So the wetlands regulations, they go into discussions about intermittent versus perennial. You know, short of going out there and looking at it and finding it dry 4 days in a calendar year, they give you criteria for looking at it. And one of them is it indicated as intermittent on the USGS map? In this case, it is. Secondly, does it have a watershed greater than 1 square mile? And this does not. On page 3, using the stream stats program, the yellow area there is the actual drainage area above our site, and it's 0.15 square miles. So the wetlands regulation further goes into, if the drainage area is between 1 square mile and 1/2 square mile, then you need to show by doing hydrological calculations, again with the stream stats program, whether the probability is basically less than 1% of it flowing perennially. Well, we happen to be even below the category, so we're not over the 1 square mile. We're not even in the 1 square mile to 0.5 square mile. We're below that. So based on that information, we determine it to be intermittent for the regulations. And the reason this becomes pertinent is because being perennial, you've got protection from 0 feet out to 200 feet. You can't do anything within the first 100, and you can do certain things within the 100 to 200 foot zone. Being intermittent, you've got jurisdiction from 0 to 100. Now, we haven't surveyed the site based on GIS measurements, you know, of the house and the stream. We figure it's close to 100, maybe 110 feet. I think Jessica's been on site.
Myself and Dave and Christoph have all been on.
Oh,
site.
okay, good.
What's GIS stand for?
Geographical Information System. So the Mass Mapper, they have, that's where some of these things come from here.
The topographical map.
Yeah, it's got topography, it's got all the hydrological connections of streams, and it's got also buildings on there. Now, it's got lot lines too, but if you're looking lot lines, buildings, they don't match up very well. But the physical things like houses, roads, things like that, those all are relative to one another, and they match up pretty well. So that's it. If it's like I said, we haven't done the survey or been to the site, but it's a difference of, do you agree with our assessment of it being intermittent? versus perennial? And then if so, what needs to be done next, if anything?
Why he didn't go through the site, these two. Okay.
Yeah, so it's,
So the recollection was, the applicant wanted to do an addition. And by the time myself and Dave and Christoph got to the site, there was a hole already dug for a foundation without any
Mhm.
conservation approval. So when we went down and we measured from the stream to the closest point of the foundation hole, it was around 110, 120. And considering it was a fast flowing stream, we determined that it was in the 200-foot buffer. We did talk to the resident, who said that, she must have saw it dry up years ago, but you know, didn't have any data to kind of provide us with, like you're saying, 4-day dry up, anything like that. So the site conditions that we all witnessed indicated a pretty heavy flowing stream. So it was at that point that the commission determined to restabilize the site. So erosion controls were put in place and the hole was filled back in, and it was recommended that they filed an NOI. So at this point, this RDA is in front of the commission to determine whether the area depicted is subject, not whether the work is.
Yes, correct, yeah.
So it would be up to you as a commission to determine if what you originally saw based off of the new presented information, if you still want them to submit an NOI, if you feel the area is no longer subject to Wetlands Protection Act, or how you want to proceed.
is it, is your client strong against doing an NOI? I mean, that wouldn't prevent them from.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I don't know. I just, my engineer Trevor took a look at it and says, wait a minute, this is intermittent anyways. So he prepared this,
Mhm.
to document, his position of it being an intermittent versus perennial.
Well, how often are those maps updated?
The GIS?
Yeah.
Every so often.
You know, how do they get updated from like boots on the ground into that information system, you know? Do we
They,
have?
they do change over time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I've seen streams change over time.
Yeah.
There does seem to be more perennial. Some of the intermittents are going away sometimes. And
Yeah.
they turn perennial.
So Dave, and George, seems like our options would be to continue this. Are we able to get a peer review if we want to get our own engineer to
Yep.
get a peer review? So that would be one option.
Yep.
The other option would be to take this gentleman's argument
Mhm.
and just allow it to move forward, right? Those are-
You can request a site walk with either Paul or Trevor at the site, since they haven't been there yet. And we have, so we can all be on the same page with their information and what we witnessed. You can make a decision tonight. You don't have to make a decision tonight. You can request more information.
Also, the applicant there did make the comment that for many years, she hasn't seen this water stop. You know, like an intermittent.
Yeah. Well,
So things may have changed on the other
It-
side.
that's a possibility. I mean, we've actually had a couple of streams in cases like this where we've wound up having to go out, and of course, this time of year, we wouldn't even bother looking at it. If it's flowing now, it's gonna keep flowing until,
Yeah,
maybe June or July.
right.
But you only need to find four days in the year. It doesn't have to be 4 consecutive, just 4 days and no flow. And I don't know, they might rather file an NOI than go that route.
Well, that's why I asked the question about the
Yeah.
NOI. The NOI isn't that
Yeah,
hard to do.
no, it isn't. You know, if it's riverfront, the fees are 1.5 times, and plus, we gotta go out there, we gotta do a plan now. So, you know, it's definitely, it's worth putting our, you know,
It's probably less.
Our
impact
RDA.
on the Applicant.
Yeah.
To do an RDA to see if this would be sufficient. But originally, after the reclamation, an NOI was requested, and now we're seeing an RDA, which is fine. But do you have enough information to make a ruling today or not? Is what you three have to decide.
So we can do one of three things. Either we can okay it, we can say, or we can say,
We wanna walk it with this,
You could continue
yeah,
it.
we could. If you guys were willing to, we could walk it with this engineering firm, or we could have a peer review and get another engineer's opinion, but I'm not necessarily for
and you could also,
doing that.
with the homeowner saying he's never seen the thing dry in a long time, you could also say,
well, the thing is,
you don't feel comfortable calling it intermittent, even though it meets that criteria too.
well, we can send it to another time, or, review it in next month or the month after. And give it that time.
Well, and to Paul's point, it's not gonna get any drier anytime soon. So if you're choosing, if you think the best option is to continue it, that would be for you to have an opportunity to get to the site with the engineer and the applicant so that everybody's on the same page of what they're seeing and what the rules are.
I was on the site. It
Yep.
looks like it's a wetland. I don't think it's.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a huge burden to have to do an NOI. If I was gonna vote on it tonight, I would say. We already recommended to do an NOI to the homeowner, and I think that's what should be done. From what she said and what we saw. Yeah, what you said makes sense, and it follows that criterion, except that it didn't look like it on site, so.
Mhm.
I think we would push in that direction. That would be
Okay,
probably the fastest path of resolution
so-
for them too.
Why don't I make a motion to have an NOI done? So we can all look at it.
Well, so if I may interject, so the RDA is to determine whether the area depicted is subject to jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act. So you'd have to motion for a negative or a positive determination for the RDA. And then you could do recommendations after that.
Okay, can I make a motion to make a negative determination?
So negative meaning it's not subject.
Right.
Do I hear a second?
Not subject to the Wetlands Protection Act.
And if I don't get a second, then we go the other way.
Do I hear a second on a negative RDA?
I don't see it to be no second.
So let's have a little discussion before, like, we can have a little
Yeah,
discussion.
yep.
What do you think? Dave?
Like I said, you two saw it, I didn't.
Right.
So,
I think I would stick with the NOI.
okay, so you wanna have a positive determination and go for another. NOI, okay. All those in favor of a positive determination,
Aye.
okay,
George?
I will also. Okay, the positive determination,
Okay, so
Alright.
as a positive determination, they can so choose to submit an NOI, which is recommended by the board. Or not do the project, which
Right.
I don't think is an option at this
Can't they
point,
appeal
but
the decision too?
can they appeal the decision? I believe so.
I mean, you may.
I've honestly never heard of appealing an RDA. It might be an option, but I mean,
okay.
I
All those
not know
in
any-
favor of it?
What?
Oh, we already voted on?
You
Yeah,
did.
We did, okay, I'm sorry. Little behind schedule.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're gonna sign them too. That's the COC and that's the RDA. And George will take that paperwork back.
We'll get all this back together and send it back down to you. Let me get a pen. Are you over it?
First off, I'll take all that back, that and the pile in front of George too. And that, yep.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Andrews, do you want to read number 4?
Okay, and we'll, is now 7:50, 6:50, we'll open number 4. Minor modification request for Queen Lake Road. NOI, OOC. 304-0368 submitted by Dillis and Raleigh. Right here.
Original accepted plans and modified plans, so you can see.
This is,
Are you Dillis and Roy?
I am.
We are just opened your
Oh,
topic.
that's good. Sorry, late.
That's okay. If you would like to come
Sure, thank you.
and just state your name, that would be great.
Being in the hot seat here.
Perfect time.
Greg Roy, Dillis Roy. Again, sorry for being late. So I'm here representing the applicant, Carol Ackerman, and some of you may recall, I think you're all familiar, or at least some of you. We were here a couple years ago to get this approved originally. And I don't know if you folks have the original plan or just my new plan.
Both
Both, okay.
original and
Great.
modified. Yep.
So we had originally planned on having the driveway on the, I'll call it southerly side. I'm not exactly sure which way north is. Adjacent to the wetland on the lower side of the site. And yep, and since that time, the applicant's been working with their architect to refine what they're planning for the site. I think they've gotten some site work estimates, and they're no longer proposing to do the loop road around the septic system. And also, as it turns out, they're also looking to take down the barn that's located right there. Correct. Yes. So we put together this plan to show the barn that's now looking to come down, which of course was not part of the original application before your commission when we came a few years back. And then they also would like to relocate the driveway on that portion of the site. We'll be disturbing that area anyway, and we had some of the driveway that was part of the loop around the septic system. So it just seemed to make sense. It's a shorter driveway, a lot less impervious area on the site. And there's actually there's a net less disturbance to the buffer zone with that configuration. We've also pulled the erosion control barrier on the opposite side where the driveway was previously located back outside of the buffer zone substantially. So we've reduced the impacts on that side of the site. Everything else is the same, except that they have also included on the new plan a barn that they're proposing to build right next to the septic system. That's outside of the 100-foot buffer zone, so not within a jurisdictional area. And then there's been some shifting of the house and the garage.
There's a house in this.
Correct. And that still remains outside of the 100-foot buffer zone. So no significant change there, just sort of relocated it. The house box is a little bit different than it was previously shown. The septic system is in the exact same spot, no change there. And I think that's it. The only other thing I wanted to mention is that actually, although we're moving the driveway on that other side of the site, the way the runoff works, it really all flows towards the, I'm gonna call it Plan South. I don't think it's actually south, but Plan South. So actually, the wetland area that's on the top of the plan really won't receive the runoff from the new driveway. It'll flow down through the, kind of around the septic system. We've graded it off with some swales and make its way eventually down. It's all coming, yeah, it's all coming down towards the leach field, and then it'll make its way down into the buffer zone on the opposite side of the site. So really, we dared come before you as a request for a minor modification on those grounds, because we felt like it was a reduction in the buffer. And really from a stormwater runoff standpoint, with the reduction in the impervious area and also the shifting the driveway further up gradient from the ultimate where it will drain in the wetlands, we thought it was a benefit. So happy to take any questions that you folks may have.
Okay, I have one thing to start with. I get more than one, but I get one.
You bet.
to start with. Yeah, Ware River watershed. Has that been looked at on this? Nothing was mentioned at the last meeting.
Yeah, no, that's
Years
great.
ago, Ware River, I don't know how close you are to it.
No, that's
I know
great,
it's
yeah.
on this side. And they've had to move one house that they planned by somebody else.
Okay,
to
yeah.
Get out of the Ware River.
Well, I will say that's a great question, and I truthfully did not, have not sent this back to DCR. Originally, we did get a negative determination from DCR. We did file this original plan with those folks, and they gave us a negative determination in that that the work would be allowed as proposed. I have not sent them the revised plan, so, we can certainly do that.
All right. And also, whereas you have this other barn over here that's down, right?
Yeah.
Are they gonna remove that barn?
I don't believe that's in the plans, but I mean, I could ask, but I don't
Because
believe,
between this barn and that barn.
Yeah.
You have all kinds of tractor parts, car
okay.
parts that have to be removed.
Okay.
And you have nobody has applied to have to the building inspector to do that.
To remove the parts.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't,
And it'd be kind of foolish to do all this work and leave all that junk out on the road.
okay.
I'm just asking you on that particular part.
I have a question.
You haven't been up there.
The original cover letter doesn't mention the demo of the barn. But the plans do.
The original cover letter for, the one I just sent you? Yeah, I just must have left it off.
Cause
So-
your road's going through it.
Yeah, so
And it's certainly noted on the
should
plan.
the commission be simply looking at the plans and not?
Well, the letter's kind of a courtesy, just to
Okay.
sort of cover the file, just so
Perfect.
you don't get a plan.
Okay,
But I mean, yeah, I mean, the plan, we have a note on there that we're.
Okay. so it would be the slight change of two structures, the addition of a barn, the relocation and redesign of a driveway, and the demo of a whole barn.
That's right. Yeah. All the structures are outside of the buffer. But the real changes, I think, would be the demolition of the barn and the relocation of the driveways.
There's also the addition of a barn.
Correct, but it's outside of the buffer.
I'm not
Yeah.
disagreeing.
No,
with you.
that's fine.
I'm
But
just-
yeah, in terms of the summary, the plan changes, yeah.
The changes from the original to the minor modifications request are the addition of a barn.
Mhm.
The buildings have moved slightly, are still in the buffer.
Yeah.
The relocation and redesign of the driveway. And the demo of the barn that goes through the driveway.
Yeah, it's a good summary.
And the impact on the wetlands is less.
That's our contention.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
certainly up to you folks. I don't wanna,
So you have to resubmit this to Ware River, the new one.
yeah, I think that would be a smart thing to do. Yeah, that escaped my thought process when we were applying for this.
Big area.
Yeah, I don't anticipate an issue. I don't think anything we're proposing there is a significant change to what we're doing before, but I'm happy to do that.
Would you be open to a site visit?
Absolutely. Whatever the commission.
As soon as the snow goes over.
Yeah, it looks like we might dodge a bullet here tomorrow, but we'll see, I guess.
because.
Unless by the time we get home, they bump the totals back up to a foot,
We do have a newer commission member who
Sure,
was
yeah.
not part of the original.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Happy to schedule a site walk out there. Would you be looking for, the last time we did it, we staked the driveway and things. Would you be looking for that again?
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
all right.
Yeah.
Because I do not believe
Yeah.
we've staked the new
You know,
driveway.
Have to do
Over
that.
here, I only saw two little blue flags in this mess,
Yeah, and it's been a few years, so I mean, we may have to,
and we'll see, take them down.
yeah.
And if the little one by ones, usually in a year and a half, they rot off and fall anyway.
The stakes.
Yeah, but
Well, we had all the things staked, but I think they hate it, so I think they may have taken those stakes down now. But the driveway's all new anyway, so we'd have to stake that again for you. But we can do that. We can stake the driveway and the structures out there and then reflag.
and
Wetlands.
where the new proposed barn is.
Yeah, we'll stake the structures for sure. Yeah. I think all those stakes have been taken down now.
Do you want to, would you accept the motion to continue this meeting until we do a site visit?
May I interrupt for a quick second?
Sure.
Is anybody here in the audience that has questions about this specific topic or is here for this topic? I don't want to leave anybody out if you're here for this one. Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you for that.
All right, so. Yeah, make a motion to,
We need a site walk.
make a motion to do this,
So how long do you want to continue it?
one month.
Up to you folks. I mean, we're happy to do it anytime.
Well, if the snow's off the ground, we'll do it in a month. How's that?
Well, as soon as possible, I would say. So
Huh?
as soon as you folks feel like it's possible. So I mean, if it's,
As soon as we can get a sidewalk in.
Okay.
And we do it then.
so if we're bare ground next week, can I contact the
Absolutely.
office and, okay, that's fair enough.
But-
No, I get it.
but
We're
you
at the
wanna-
mercy of the weather here,
You
so.
want to get on the next meeting.
I'd like to if
Yeah.
possible,
So
so.
I'll make a motion that we continue this to the next meeting with the idea that we do a site walk as soon as it's possible
Yeah, and if,
Second.
and convenient for the applicant.
yeah, and if you're not comfortable doing it because we still have snow, then we can certainly continue it again. That's fine.
I hear a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion to continue to the March meeting with a site walk in between? Hearing no discussion, how do you vote, Christoph?
Aye.
George?
Yeah, okay.
Dave?
Aye.
There you go.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very
Thank
much.
you.
I drove all the way here and I can drive all the way.
And my contact information for when you want to make.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks, Greg. All right, guys, I'll take all that stuff back. Nothing needs to be signed for that one.
Let's just from here. Yeah. Oh, that goes back to her.
Thank you very much. That's okay. All right, George, you're on number 5.
Yeah, I'm going to, that, it's 7:05. We're gonna go on number 5. Which is a NOI 381 Baldwinville Rod down with Templeton. Highway building submitted by GRAZ Engineering on behalf of William Matusewicz for the installation of 1,437 feet of fourth main sewer line through 2 parcels of 2 wetland crossings. The proposed alteration is set to impact inland resource areas, forming vegetated wetland. Pending file number from MassDEP, we do not have, am I correct? We still do not have a number from DEP.
And to open the hearing, I will read the legal notice. 381 Baldwinville Road Sewer Line Notice of Intent. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, that a public hearing will be held on a notice of intent filed by Paul Grozowitz of GRAZ Engineering LLC on behalf of Will Matusewicz of 160 Brooks Road. The project location is 381 Baldwinville Road, Town of Templeton Highway Building, map 4-07, parcel 52. Description of project is the installation of 1,437 feet of forced main sewer line through 2 parcels and 2 wetlands crossings. The proposed alteration is set to impact inland resource areas and bordering vegetated wetlands. The hearing will be held on February 12th, 2024 at 6:30 PM at Templeton Town Hall, pending a file number is issued by MassDEP. Any person wishing to be heard concerning the above application should appear at the time and place indicated above. The notice of intent is available for public review at the Development Services Office, Room 3, 160 Patriots Road during regular office hours. The NOI is also available upon request from jcase@templetonma.gov. George Andrews, Chair, Templeton Conservation Commission. With us this evening, we have Paul GRAZ representing the project. Mr. Andrews, what will you be doing?
I will be sitting out with the abutters, whereas I am an abutter.
Okay, so Mr. Andrews recuses himself.
Excuse me, can we bring the?
Yeah, but then nobody can see it, Aaron.
They could see it on the,
So you can make
you
it.
got it on the TV up here as well.
So the topic this evening is open. The commission and applicant and engineer have not done a site walk due to the snow conditions. Also, MassDEP has not issued a file number to the applicant for the project. But because all of you are here, I think it's best that we gather all the information from applicants, engineers, abutters, neighbors, anybody that would like to speak. This is a good time that we'll gather all that information. Once everybody is sufficient, the commission will make a motion to continue the hearing to either next month or April's meeting, so that the commission and applicant and engineer have time to visit the site together, and it'll allow MassDEP to potentially issue a file number. So once the applicant and the commission speak, I'll open it up to the public to speak. If you would like to talk, please state your name and your address for the record. If you have any questions, let me know. So Mr. GRAZ, would you like to start?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Paul Grazowitz, GRAZ Engineering. To the applicant, Bill Matusewicz. This project, first I'd like to explain that this is the first part of a multi-part approach to the development of his land. We are hoping to sewer, low pressure sewer, the project on the Matusewicz property on the land. In order to do that, we have to get an easement in order to install this low pressure sewer line. So what you see, that the filing is strictly for that work across the town property, for which we hope to get an easement. Now, the easement doesn't exist yet. The easement value has to be appraised, and I'm not sure if that's completed yet or not. And then Bill would have to purchase the easement from the town. He wouldn't be purchasing any land, just the right to lay the utility line across the property. So this has nothing to do at this point with the subdivision. There will be another filing for the subdivision, whether it's, 15 lots, 20 lots, that'll be determined later. But the first item is the sewer line. We've been meeting with the selectmen on multiple occasions, and the DPW, and it was felt that it might be a good idea to do the wetlands filing for this portion through the town property prior to pursuing or getting an easement. Obviously, if we don't get an easement, this doesn't happen. So that's why we haven't gone any further with the project itself. So basically, and I'll stand over there, I'll talk loud enough, hopefully, that your microphones can hear me. So the sewer is going to start out here on Baldwinville Road. We're going to be installing a manhole just off of the existing road. And that's gonna gravity flow into the existing sewer. From there, we're gonna have this, small diameter, low pressure line, which is gonna run, in the buffer zone to this, wetland. There's a-
How many inch pipe is that gonna be?
Pardon me?
How many inch pipe is that gonna be?
Right now, it's 2, depending on the number of units.
For sewage?
It could be
Sewage?
great. Yeah, they're, these low pressure sewers, each individual home has a grinder pump in it. And
I appreciate your comment, but if you could just wait until the,
Yeah, well, I wanna ask why
I
it's fresh, you know.
I understand, but we have to let him finish his presentation.
so we get into the town property. We come north a little bit just to miss, they have a culvert there and some retaining walls around that culvert pipe. And we cross their yard and we come to the first wetland right here. This is one of 2 wetland crossings. This one's 432 square feet. We're gonna keep this, proposing this as a permanent wetland crossing. We're gonna put 3 15-inch diameter culverts in there, so the water level, wetlands level won't change in that area. We're gonna put retaining walls on both sides, boulder walls, so it's gonna be the access road, if you go where the pipe is, it'd be 10-foot wide, and then you've got boulders, it's gonna be about 15-foot wide crossing that for disturbance of 432 square feet. Then we continue and we climb up here. This stone wall right here is the border of the town property and other property. So we're just inside the town property. It's a 20-foot wide easement. And we're going up the hill here. And then we come to a second wetland crossing. And this one is about 1,183 square feet of wetlands to cross right here. That will be a temporary disturbance, so the wetlands obviously are going to be altered during the installation of the utility line, but then they'll be restored. So there'll be no wetlands loss here, and just this 400 square feet down here. And then we're actually at that point we're to our property line up in there. So we're proposing a couple of manholes right now along there. One a high point vent, another a clean out, so you can clean the line as needed. And then it's going into the site. From there, we don't know where it's going to go other than to go to the roadway and to the various houses. So that's it. Basically, it's we're not the only place we're changing any grades. The grades are going to stay the same as they are now. We've got it's right in here in this little crossing. We're building up a little bit, putting the 3 15-inch pipes in there and graveling over there. Other than that, the topography won't change from there.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Do you have anything to add? Otherwise, I will open it up to the commission.
No, that's basically it.
Christoph, Dave? For questions? I guess my turn too. My question is, why are there no culverts proposed at the second wetlands crossing?
Because we're going to, there's a detail on the sheet and how we're going to do the crossing. But it's going to be done during the dry season.
Okay.
So there won't be any moving water, but we're going to be, we're going to have pump discharging to an upland area while they're doing that excavation. And then it's going to be brought back to the original grade and level.
How will this be maintained? How, easement would provide access? How wide?
The easement's 20 feet wide. The reason for the 20-foot width is to allow for excavating, laying the pipe, dealing with your backfill and refilling of the trench. So there's not going to be, we're not proposing a road. It's going to be cross-country sewer, no road. There will be a few trees, especially up by Baldwinville Road, that'll have to be cut to, to enable the sewer installation. But we're not going to make a road there.
Not a road, but you need an access easement to maintain it.
Yeah, 20 feet wide. It's just if somebody has to get in there. I mean, I'm sure at this point, I don't know if the town is going to take this over. Or it's going to be maintained through an association or what, but
Do you know if your applicant plans to make the development of the houses a private road or a public road?
I'm assuming public road.
Okay, so according to the sewer department, if the subdivision gets accepted at town meeting, then the sewer department maintains the sewer pipe. But if it is a private subdevelopment, then either the contractor or the association would be responsible for maintaining the sewer pipe.
At this point, I would think public.
But if it,
We have met with the sewer department and they,
Yep.
they were in favor. They didn't have any issues.
I met with the sewer department today as well. They're not in favor or not in favor. They just said that they were okay to tie in on Baldwinville Road, and that's really all they could speak of.
I know what's happened in the past in other places, like Victoria Lane, for example, up on South Road. That was pushed through as a development as a private road and a private sewer system. And then years later, the people that had signed paperwork saying that they were responsible for their paying for the upkeep of that system and that development, then came back to the town and said, we never knew about this, and now we want the town sewer to take this over. So it wasn't originally planned to be maintained or taken care of by the town, but then eventually now the town is taking. care
Yeah,
of it.
we'll have to, I mean,
So that's.
we'll have to work those details out, but I do believe, I do believe they commented that, well, the same thing you said, once it's in the road. Normally we have to design these subdivisions to the subdivision standards. Because you've got to assume they're all going to be public, because like I said, even if they start out as private, years later they come in and say, hey, we want the town to take care of this, and they petition to go to be a public road. So it's going to be designed and as a public road, and it probably will be. And like you said,
Yep.
Then the sewer commission is going to want to be responsible for everything within the easement and the roadway. Yeah.
Where's the pump station?
They're in the individual houses.
Individual.
Yeah.
Just a question. From that corner lot to the gravity. If there were any houses on this side that could tap into that, could they do that via a Y piece and a check valve?
Yeah, you have to
So-
valve check. I don't believe there's any, there's any land that could be, you get the town parcel on the one side. You do have the house right on the left as it comes off there. They could actually tie into the gravity manhole. Yeah,
Property on Baptist Common Road.
yeah, tons of wetlands there. I mean, that's
Oh,
a lot of wetlands back there.
just asking.
It could be done if the system were able to accommodate. We've got to look at the flows and the pumps but chances are, yeah, another house or two is not gonna affect the system. It'll still be able to handle it.
And if anybody was to tap into it, they would have their own pump to their house.
Unless it were the house right on Baldwinville, they could tie right into the gravity section right there. The first little run of gravity we're doing. Yeah. Actually, they're probably already tied into the road anyway, so.
Everybody on William Road is cited
Yeah.
already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're already tied.
And what is low pressure?
So basically it's, instead of having it's not, it's more common to have, in a low area, you put a pump station. Then you have gravity sewers running from all your roads and houses going down to this low area with this single pump station. And then from there, you run a 4-inch force main to, wherever you're going with the gravity sewer. And normally there's a lot of vertical head there. So you've got to run a 4-inch pipe. You've got to go uphill to get to your gravity sewer. So a single pump station is typically needed if there's a lot of change in elevation. For this project, I mean, for this force main, you can see from end to end, it's pretty flat. And the same applies on his property. It's flat over on his property too. So it's ideal for the low pressure sewer. So they go up and down. It's a force main, but it's,
Something like 60 pounds,
oh no, less than that.
less than.
Yeah. And they have grinder pumps in each house will have a grinder pump setup. So that's why you get the smaller diameter pipe.
Okay, yep.
You good for now?
Yep.
You good for now?
No, I have one more question.
Absolutely.
What is the council think of this? You said the sewer department's neutral. What did you find when you talked to the city council?
Oh, the Board of Selectmen.
Selectmen?
Yeah, they, initially DPW was, we had a layout, well, he thought it was gonna go through the, and we were actually, thinking of going more north through the, DPW property to the north a little bit. And, they didn't like that idea, so we shifted the whole thing down to their boundary. And, then they were fine with it. It won't interfere with any of their operation or future plans they might have in there.
The highway department.
The highway department, yeah.
But what about the board of selectmen? Are they?
Yeah, the Board of Selectmen, they authorized, the town administrator to sign off on the, notice of intent. You know, as far as the wetlands application goes, as far as the easement goes, that process is gonna be a whole nother process. It's gotta be appraised, it's gotta go to the town. It's gotta be voted on, because he's gonna have to pay to get this easement.
So Christoph, if I may, I attended that select board meeting with Paul GRAZ, and the select board wanted the applicant to go through the permitting process before going through the easement process. And the first step of that was to go through the Conservation Commission. But because it's on town property, they had voted for, to give the town administrator the approval to just sign the NOI so it could be heard. So this would be the first stop in a permitting process. After this, you would have to go to planning board and you would have to come back to Concom with another NOI for a potential subdivision, and then eventually go to town meeting to get votes on an easement. And regarding the DPW director who I spoke to today, said he does not give permission for anything done on highway DPW property. That's up to the town voters.
Yeah, the whole thing
He's
kind of hinges on the town voters, and then we're kind of being put in the first line of,
Yes.
they're leveraging
Correct.
us to be the first person to say yes or no, when all
Correct.
we are is the conservation. I mean,
correct.
all we determine is whether it's near wetlands or not. We're not determining whether or not the town should have this project.
Correct.
I feel like they kind of, it's almost like it got kicked to us.
Right. There's really nothing ever been done like this before, so there really isn't a process. So
Yeah,
they pushed it back to
to us.
you to go through the permitting process first.
Okay.
But regarding DPW, the DPW director is a town employee, so he doesn't make, approvals of what can be done on the property or not. That all goes through the town. So the DPW director does not give permission. It would be the town that would give permission to do the project, the easement itself.
Sure, but the select board
But the select board,
are our leaders in the town that should be leading us on what they're thinking of this. And they're saying, just give us your opinion on whether or not these are wetlands.
yep,
Correct. Okay. All right,
you got it.
I think we should open up to the.
Okay, are you all set, Paul?
So,
Christoph, Dave? Okay, at this time, we were gonna open up to comments, questions, concerns. If you speak, please state your name loud and clearly. If you, Paul, do you want to sit down? So if you could, that would be great. Thank you. Mr. Matusewicz, would you like to go first?
Yes, I just had one comment on the pressure. The pressure may vary like from 5 to 10 pounds. It's not a pressure system like any other system around. It's very, very low pressure.
The pressure will vary.
Well, I was just curious on what pressures are. I have a water transfer pump and the thing puts out 60 pounds. So I was kind of wondering in the distance of this, whether it be a 2-inch force or a 4-inch force, we probably need some pressure
To push it
to
out.
push. That's the only reason why I asked.
Very good. Anybody else?
Guess I'll go first.
Yeah,
So regarding that,
can you say,
Lisa Bassa, 40 Baptist Common.
thank you.
Sorry,
That's okay.
regarding that, what's gonna keep the lines from not freezing in the winter? There's no pressure behind it. That's an area of
But to
concern.
answer that, it's gonna be the
down
depth of the
5
water lines, which don't freeze in the winter.
Okay, so as you stated earlier, the GIS maps they're not updated regularly. Nobody's been out there to walk it.
We have not been out there to walk it yet. Nope.
I have been. We have a river that flows constantly now. Since the house has been built, there's been 31 houses between Baptist Common, Lord Road and Brooks Road. So every house that's been built, there's been fill brought in and it's pushed all the water to the middle. So like I said, between my property that runs out to the town property, there is a flowing river. I sure don't think 3 15-inch pipes are gonna make a difference with that. As far as the dry season, there is no dry season. They want to get in there and dig, backfill, put the pipes down, cover them. There is no dry season to get out there. Let's see. As far as,
You're 40 Baptist Common, you said?
yes, ma'am.
So this is you
Running-
running, so this is your property all here.
Yes.
Yeah, all right there.
So what's listed on the GIS maps, I don't know if you've looked at them
Yep.
recently. They have no proposed plans for crossing the second crossing.
They have no
Or-
proposed plan.
No water, they're just counting on a dry season. No.
Yeah, that's the one that I asked the
Yeah.
engineer about. He said altered and restored. I said, why no culverts? Because the pump is discharging to upland.
But while they're putting it in.
Yep.
You know, what's gonna happen?
Right.
It's gonna flood out. The wildlife that's out there, we have tons of lady slippers. They're all over the place. It's protected flowers. My children found a yellow spotted salamander. It's protected. The amount of damage that this is gonna do to the wetlands out there. It's. What do you say, 25 feet, 25 feet? The easement,
20 foot wide easement,
20-foot wide easement?
20 foot. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a road,
Yeah.
to get a vehicle down.
You're gonna be disturbing a lot of the wetlands. Let's see what else. In the, let's see. Somebody walked out there and listed off a few of the plants that are out there, the ferns and whatnot. But like I said, the lady slippers come out in the spring and it's loaded.
Well, we will
So-
look for those when we do a site walk.
Yeah.
We need to
I
get
have-
out there, but, the snow covering it.
Yeah.
Not, accurate wetlands conditions for us to,
No, absolutely. I have pictures. I can submit those to you.
be happy to get those.
And I do have pictures of the salamander my children found.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you want to see.
You can, if I give you my email address, you can send them to me and I'll send them to the commission members.
Okay,
That would be great.
perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Tom Ben Bennett, Lawn Road.
How many houses were proposed there? Just 22? And a 2-inch pipe gonna take care of all that?
Mr. Graz, can you answer how many houses are proposed?
Somewhere between 15, 20. We haven't designed
Okay.
a subdivision yet.
So it hasn't been designed yet.
It might wind up being a 3-inch pipe, but
Because if you have 22 houses possibly in there, and let's say at just 10 of them are using facilities, and macerating pipes, you've got probably all will have, grinders, taking care of food waste. And you start using you're pushing material through here. I can't see how a 2-inch pipe is gonna handle it. Even in my house, I've got, you have a bigger pipe that takes it out to the septic system. You got a 4-inch pipe, 3 or 4. I don't know what the town requires.
Well, we are not the sewer commissioner, so the plans would have to be put in front of. the sewer
So they
commissioner,
would
the
have
sewer
to
department.
okay it
They would have
first.
to-
Has this gone to the,
It has not. This is literally
This
the
is the
first
first
step of
step?
the permitting process. Yep. But it would have to go to the sewer commissioner as well.
okay,
Yes.
because I have been in some of these areas in this woods in the past. And it is quite wet in some areas. And just walking along, Brooks Road, there's a lot of, water that's on both sides of the road. I was wondering, if you were putting in a system like this, would it be possible going down Brooks Road?
Brooks Road is all septic systems right now.
I know,
Yeah.
but if it was possible, just like Cook's Estates development, they had to go down the road to,
That's a
Okay.
great question. I don't know if it's possible. If you'd like, you can direct that question behind you and see if they can answer it, but
I-
these are the plans that were submitted and that's what the Conservation Commission has to review.
okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Anybody else?
Me. Okay, as you know, we have not opened the meeting officially yet.
Yeah, we have.
We are.
We have.
Okay.
We read the legal.
We just don't have the number.
You want to,
okay.
you want to state your name and your address, sir?
George Andrews, 349 Baldwinville Road.
Thank you.
And the thing is, am concerned with not only sewer department, they have not given us any information that they know with what they're gonna do down there. They have not said whether they were going to agree to do it either. So this is where we stand right now. We don't know if they're gonna do it. And I'm wondering if, one question, you putting all artesian wells out there instead of public water? You go public water out there?
10-inch main up the road.
Okay, I was just wondering, because I know there's not, some of the houses over there don't have public water. Okay. No, that was my main concern. We just
Okay.
don't seem to have enough information yet as to what they are actually doing, just what they keep showing us here. Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Bob?
Yep, Rob Whitco's, 357 Baldwin Road. How long is this project projected to take? The digging
I have no idea at this point.
at this, well, like they said, with wildlife impact, you're gonna have an excavator out there digging. I'm estimating, I've worked construction all my life. A job like that, you're looking at probably a year to a year and a half. You're gonna chase every bit of wildlife out of there, gray fox, red fox, white-tailed deer, black bear. Every type of wild, and it's gonna destroy the habitat of the whole, for the wildlife. I'm totally against it. That's all I really gotta say about it.
Thank you.
Can I add to that? That's not counting oil leaks from the machinery or anything like that might have future impacts on the wetlands.
Could you please? I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Could you state your name and your,
Emily Huber, I'm just off Lord Road on Kyle, and I was curious about what you guys were talking about with the town maintaining it after it's installed and what their requirements are and how what's gonna happen.
so I
with that.
spoke to the sewer department today and I asked him about future maintenance on it, who's responsible for maintaining it. And he said it depends on the road's status. So after the potential subdivision would go in, if the subdivision stayed private,
then either the contractor or the association would then be responsible for maintaining the sewer.
Right, so, but if it's public, what, like, what does that entail? I mean, would it be further disruption to the wetlands?
So if it's
afterwards?
public, the road would have to be accepted at a town meeting, and then the Templeton Sewer Department would then obtain the sewer line, and they would be responsible for
So
maintaining.
then there would be a road going through that.
So right now it's proposed for a 20-foot wide easement, and the easement is, for lack of a better word, a road to be able to access it, to maintain it.
It would be the same, it would be the same either way.
Same thing.
It's just a question of whether or not,
Like Baldwinville Road.
however many people that the houses are proposed, whether they're responsible for fixing the line if it breaks, or whether.
Maintaining it or cleaning it or whatever.
Okay,
Either way, on top of what's proposed would be 20 feet wide access for whoever's responsible for maintaining it, to access it, to clean it, to fix it, to whatever.
so that like roadway quote unquote roadway needs to be maintained and it would be,
Yes.
I'm against as well.
Thank you for your,
I don't think they would be
Question.
putting tar.
no,
As
it
a
doesn't.
road.
No,
That
but
might
they'd
be-
be driving it,
Would you like to
clearing
speak
it.
to what the access would be more like?
Yeah, we're not proposing to build a road along the sewer line.
Right.
It's gonna be, the sewer line's gonna be installed, the trees will be cut out of the way, the sewer line's gonna be down 5 feet. There will be one manhole out there. And it's a vent. The reason I want to leave access, if, for some reason they have to get out there, they'll be able to come from the other side, that 400 square foot wetland that's gonna be filled. That will be a gravel thing going over the wetland there. Other than that, it's gonna be natural.
So it's just gonna be earth, there's not gonna be any.
Right, there's
density.
there's not gonna be a road, but no
Don't-
one's,
No.
chances are no one's ever gonna go out there unless there's a problem. And there shouldn't be a problem.
So do they maintain it by mowing it?
No. It's down, the line's down 5 feet. You're not gonna have to mow it or do anything. You can, I mean,
These sections of pipe glued together?
yeah, they're the gasketed, so it'll be, the PVC gasketed.
Are the
which-
pipes proposed to have a sleeve over them since they're going through a wetland area?
No, they'll be going right through. They're watertight, the same pipe they use for water mains, just smaller diameter.
What is the like expected lifespan of it before you need to like take it out? Like,
It's PVC, it lasts forever.
forever.
We'll all be dead.
So what if there's something that goes unnoticed? So I did speak to the sewer department today, and they said in the past 22 years, they've only had 2 sewer breaks.
There's been water main breaks all throughout town.
Water.
High pressure.
This is a sewer pipe. Okay, yeah.
So what's, the difference between a low pressure, because in this notification, it says a forced main sewer line.
That's the verbiage that was given to me in the NOI, and I created the agenda. Did you send out a butters notices? Is that what she's reading?
Yes.
Okay, so the
Yeah, I
applicant.
don't know if that was mentioned in there or not, but yeah,
Okay.
it is a force main
Yeah.
because it's not a gravity source.
I used the word force main, that's what I used in the agenda, because that's what was provided to me in the application. The abutters notices you received came from the applicant.
This is, the abutters notice.
Absolutely, yep, no problem. Name?
Ron Amadon. 112 Brooks Road.
Thank you.
I've done 40 years of this kind of work, much larger scale. This is kind of small compared to most of the work that I do. But being a resident on that road, we've got probably 30 some odd houses on Brooks Road. I wish we were all on a low pressure force main. We're not, we're all on septics. All of the houses on Baptist Common Road are on septics. If the town has the opportunity to get force main to go through there, that's gonna discharge to the treatment plant, we should all be in favor of it. And the reason for that is, according to your town water department, the average home in the town of Templeton, excuse me, consumes about 50 to 60,000 gallons per year. And that 50 to 60,000 gallons per year gets utilized through your sinks, your toilets, etc. It all goes into a leach field. So we're taking 50 to 60,000 gallons a year and putting it into the ground. I don't want any more water going into the ground where I live than we have to have. If these houses are gonna be built, I don't wanna see extra septic systems out there.
Hmm.
I wanna see that water pumped out of there and go down Baldwinville Road and go to the treatment plant where it belongs. To put that pipeline in, my crews would take about 2 months. In a small scale operation, maybe 6 months. I don't believe it'd take that long. But I wish the town would invest in sewer mains on all of Baptist Common and all of Lord Road and Brooks Road. But the town doesn't have the money to do that right now. So if we've got a developer who's willing to put one of these pipelines in, we should welcome it. And then the town's gonna get $5,000 per house to tie into that line. And then they're gonna get whatever the usage fees are, you pay by the gallon that goes into that. It's all good for the town. It's all good for those of us that live there. I'm
So
highly in favor.
water
of this.
rate.
Excuse me, I'm speaking.
I know, I just wanted to clarify something.
So as far as I'm concerned, I'm highly in favor of this.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Amadon.
So that was already discussed and it was stated that the water main or the sewer main that's being put in is enough to cover the houses they want to build there.
Mhm.
And that it wouldn't be enough for the people on the road to tie into. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
I'm just here to listen.
Just didn't want to leave you out. Mr. GRAZ?
Yeah, since we're gonna continue this anyways, I am going to, I'm gonna get with the E1 company, which, this system's based on. And I'm gonna send them, the information. I'm gonna obviously have to make, some assumptions on the subdivision, because we haven't nailed down anything on the actual subdivision. But I can find out, approximately how many houses would be able to tie into a force main, given it being, 3 inches or whatever.
That would be good information. to
and
have.
then-
Yeah,
And then at least I can answer that.
that's great.
Yeah, and to Mr. Amadon's point, if it's, short money to put in a system that can be open to a few other neighbors, maybe that actually adds a benefit to the neighborhood instead of just a perceived negative. Where if there wasn't a butter either now or in the future, if at their own expense, they wanted to tie into that line and get their effluents out into the main system, then it's one more or less thing putting those 50,000 gallons or whatever it is into your neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it's at least worth asking.
I had another question.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. What happens if they lose power? No pumping? You still using water? Where does it go?
Well, there's some storage in the units, but yeah,
That's
usually if you got, it's nice when you have a well on these type of lots, because you lose your power, you lose your well, you lose your running water.
right.
So, probably when we design the subdivision, we may actually provide for, some extra storage beyond that. The units themselves, they do have a certain amount of storage in them, based on the depth outside.
But would it be a tank?
The units,
Within that store, within this, pressured line?
No.
That-
No.
there'd be a
no, it
tank?
would be at the individual
At the
houses.
individual houses on the second page.
So they
have-
come in, basically around, it's basically around pipe that the pump goes in the ground, and then you've got a certain amount of storage in there. And the last one we did, they had wells, so it wasn't so
Bottom
much.
right. Bottom right.
I see it, yeah.
So that might be for something like 2 or 3 days.
No, no, nowhere near that kind of storage.
I mean, usually if somebody loses power, it's
Yeah, on septics,
1 or 2 hours.
Can I
Yeah,
ask for quiet in the
on
audience?
septics, we allow for 24 hours storage in a septic tank. These things are a little, and I'll talk to E1 about that, but these things don't quite provide that kind of storage. You know, it's nice to have a buffer in there.
Just a concern,
Yeah, that's good,
you know, a
good point.
question.
Can you just sit there, just stay? I appreciate it. Mr. Amadon, do you have another question?
If I may, the question about other people tying into this is easily done. There are some manholes that are indicated on the drawings already. There could be an additional manhole if necessary, but that's a perfect place to do it because you come in through the manhole, you're able to cut the pipe, you put a TY in there, and then the next low pressure force main. They're all force mains, high pressure and low pressure are both force mains. You tie in through that manhole right there. You've already got a clean out in it. It works. I think it's a good system. I put in a lot of them.
That would be more disturbance to the wetlands.
No,
Back out there
actually,
and have a big event.
what happens, and again, it's not a road, an easement is a pathway that goes through the forest. And once you put the pipe in the larger impact zone, all of this, the way you disturb a wetland, you're supposed to selectively remove that soil, pass it aside. You dig the trench, put the pipe in. The last materials to go back in has to be those same materials that you found on the top, so that they have the same plants and rhyomes, I think if I'm pronouncing that word correctly, in that soil so that it rejuvenates back to wetland soil. In the one case where it's a small impact zone, when the line goes through there, that one, they're suggesting because it's gonna go over a low area on town property, that you put in 3 culverts to handle the normal flow of wetland water that's always been there. And those pipes have to be sized and designed for that normal flow that they know of. Then you put a gravel road over it. So the gravel road ends up being 20 feet wide by, I think it's 30 feet. So we're talking in total, those 2 zones we're talking about, and that's the only thing that's before you folks tonight, is the wetland impact zones, is about the size of this room. The rest of it has no discussion in this room, quite
Well-
frankly.
Well, if I may, the commission hears applications for people who want to do disturbance projects in the buffer zone of a wetland. So
Yep.
we would have heard this project whether there have been crossings or not. So you are right in the fact that they're here to determine the impact of the wetlands crossings.
Mhm.
But also their buffer zone impact as well. The whole project is in a buffer zone, so.
But the major concern, obviously, is the wetland.
When you,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, when you say they put the pipes in to allow the flow, what are those pipes?
They're culverts, so they're pipes that allow the water to move back and forth when you're putting a pipe.
Is it
They're
CPVC?
perpendicular.
Is it like?
Usually they're concrete.
No, those will be, high density corrugated polyethylene,
HDPE.
HDPE. And the reason I'm using there's, you putting 3 pipes there, it's not, there's no flow. It's a wetland,
Yep.
but it's wide and flat. So just, rather than stick 1 pipe in the middle.
Yep.
And then, if the water wants to move this way or that, it would generally probably go that way.
We're not talking about a stream, we're talking about saturated. water.
And it gives the critters more.
Right. Mr. Benbeck, did you?
Yeah, I had if this way is not maintained, mowed, trees are gonna start to grow. Tree roots grow more than 5 feet. They do it on most, lawns, people have problems with the roots of the tree getting into the pipes. So I think if that goes in, that it needs to have some maintenance, at least trimmed. My lawn, I have trees growing if I leave it for 2 weeks. And there's everything.
Yeah, no,
growing. So you will have to maintain it, either cut it once a year twice a year, just at least, go brush hog, every once in a while, just to maintain the trees from growing over that line.
That being said, when exactly does protected wetlands not become protected anymore? Is it just when it's convenient for a developer to run a sewer line?
Yeah.
Is it?
So protected wetlands are covered under the Wetlands Protection Act, under Mass General Law, under Chapter 40, Section 131, and any applicant that wants to do project in a buffer zone of a wetland or through a wetland that will alter, dredge, or fill that area is required by Mass General Law to submit a notice of intent. That notice of intent comes here, and it also goes to MassDEP of Worcester. MassDEP of Worcester is currently looking at the project. They have not assigned it a file number yet. So our commission is hearing the project because the town administrator, on behalf of the select board, has authorized him to sign us for us to look at it, to see how, is it detrimental to the wetlands or not?
I can say that it would.
That is what they have to do. We cannot make a determination tonight. We don't have a MassDEP file number and nobody's taken a site walk. And that's something that we want to see for ourselves.
I have a half-mile trail that runs along the stone wall and everything. I invite you to come down. I will walk with you out there.
Thank you.
I'll let you look at it.
So to answer your question, it is protected unless there is authorization from the local and the state boards to do such.
Then after that, then it goes to the planning board. Well,
Paul and I were at
first
that
it goes-
meeting. Yeah. It's a permitting process.
First, it has to go
It would,
for an easement.
well,
An easement has to be obtained, or this.
how can they plant, oh, okay, so it has to go to the town for an easement, and then if the easement goes through, then you're gonna plan a development.
Yes,
and then that would be back to the Conservation Commission and to the planning board.
correct.
So why is it marked out already?
What? Again, Ms. Basso, haven't been there.
Sure.
If you can direct your question to an appropriate
There's,
party, that would be
there's
great.
markers all along the stone wall already.
Okay.
Yeah, the only,
Mark it yet, Mr.?
when we survey, we put, spikes in the ground, set the instrument up. And that's all before, as we're surveying, if we go to like your lot corners, I subdivided your property, the 2 lots that you bought there. And we put drill holes in the wall. So if you see a ribbon hanging up, there's probably a drill hole or a pipe right there. So it's either, it's a flag for something we shot when we did the survey. Or it's a spike in the ground, random, it doesn't mean anything to anybody except for us, because we're setting the instrument up. It's not a property corner, it's just a control point that we set the instrument up on, and we go, point to point.
So you're surveying for permission?
Well, eventually, first off, it's town property. So as long as he got the okay to walk town property.
That's what I'm asking.
He's welcome
Yeah,
to do
we didn't
that.
go on your
Yes.
property.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been there before,
Yeah.
but before you were there.
Or about to keep it all.
Yeah.
Okay,
Christoph, Dave?
yeah, I kind of want to move this along. So I want to know your opinion, Dave. I feel like we obviously have to continue the meeting when we open, and we need to do a site walkthrough.
By continuing it, you are leaving it open.
Yeah.
So you just need to determine between the two of you, do you want a motion to continue it to March or April?
I would like to motion to continue it until we have a site walkthrough and also get town council.
So in order for me to not have to repost the legal ad, it'd be great if you could pick a month within the next 60 days. And if that's not sufficient, then we can,
Well, how long would it take us to get an opinion from town council? Because this process doesn't make any sense, right? And we're just like stuck.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate everyone's opinions. And I appreciate your work, Paul, but there's not a clear process from beginning to end. So we need someone to tell us what the process is.
Yep.
Then we can play our role.
I can work on that this week.
Okay, if it's a fast process, then why don't we continue it for a month to the next meeting?
Are we gonna have a MassDEP file number by then? Are we gonna have a sidewalk by then?
Would 60 days be fine with you?
Yeah, we're not going anywhere yet.
Yeah.
Then let's go with March.
Yeah, then it'll be better weather too.
March is 1 month,
Or April.
whatever you guys want. Somebody make a motion.
Make sure you wear your boots.
Make them waiters for March. So we can get our sidewalk in,
You don't want to do it to April. Give us a little more time.
March, April.
Middle of February now. March is gonna come fast.
Let's go to April then.
Yeah.
Yep. Make a motion for April.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
I just want it in writing that as part of that. Or I make an amended, can I make an amended motion? Or how do
What do you,
I just think we need to put in there that we're gonna talk to town council about the process.
okay, so motion to continue, to April meeting. Yeah, with town council discussion. Motion by Dave. Do I hear a second?
Are you fine with that? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, I'll second that.
Any further discussion or amendments to the motion to continue to April and get a town council review? How do you vote, Krista? How do you vote, Dave?
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, so,
What date that would be?
yes,
Just see.
April 8th.
That's the way it's set up.
Thank you, everybody, for coming who came for this topic. We appreciate it. This topic will be continued to the April 8th conservation meeting. If you would like to come back, you're welcome to. You will not get another notification to the abutters. Would that be at 6:30 as well? 6:30 as well, yep.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Mr. Andrews, if you would like to rejoin the board, you're welcome to. So we can finish out our meeting here. I will take any paperwork back on that one. Could you hand me what Christoph has for? I appreciate that, thank you. You're everybody. You're very welcome. Thank you, everybody.
All I know is highway, you said 70-gallon storage, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, that's for the each house, their little pump station.
Highway maintenance, 70-gallon per pump.
70 gallons, so that's at least 24 hours if it ran out of power.
Mr. Andrews, would you like to read number 6?
Number 6. Agent update, storage chem plan for Otter River Road, aka Martin Road. Now, this,
So I have. The,
you got more stuff, huh?
and I'll put this in between you gentlemen so you can see visually what we're talking about. And I'm gonna read the letter so that it's on record with anybody who's listening. So this is a letter from Chris Capone, the state forester,
Yep.
to the applicant, which is JCS Holdings. They hold a property on off of Otter River Road, which is called Martin Road. You can see it on the assessor's map.
Yep.
And it says, enclosed, please find a copy of your approved forest cutting plan number 294.39336.23. I would like to bring to your attention several items regarding this forest cutting plan. You must comply with all requirements of the FCP, Mass General Law, Chapter 132, the Forest Cutting Practices Act, and 302 CMR 16. Specifically, the land must be presently and primarily used in raising forest products and shall be maintained as a forest land and continue to provide values as listed in 302 CMR 16.11. While reviewing this forest cutting plan application, I learned that the land on which the timber harvest is to take place has been subdivided into a cul-de-sac named Martin Road.
The Martin Road subdivision has been approved and recorded with both the Templeton Board of Assessors and the Templeton Planning Board. Also, according to your filings with the Secretary of the Commonwealth, JSC Holdings LLC engages in real estate investment and development. If the use of the land is converted from agriculture, in this case timbering, to development, then the work may violate town bylaws and MGL Chapter 131, Section 30, the Wetlands Protection Act.
Yep.
Additionally, changes in land use may subject you to the notice and permitting requirements in 310 CMR 10. If you are required by the Wetlands Protection Act to obtain permits associated with the development of the property in the FCP, the issuing authority, which is the Templeton Conservation Commission or MassDEP, may consider the earlier cutting and associated wetland alteration as part of the total impact of the project going forward. This may result in a reduction in the total permittable cutting and alteration of the resource area and increased restoration of the cut or altered resource area in the FCP in order to meet the performance standards for the project as a whole compared with the permittable cutting and alteration that would have been allowed and the restoration that would have been required had you obtained permits under the Wetlands Protection Act and 310 CMR 10 prior to beginning the operations. If you have any questions or concerns after reading this letter, your forest cutting plan or the forest cutting plan practices, please reach out. And that is from Chris Capone, the state forester. So essentially, they are aware that there is a approved subdivision over
Right.
where they're cutting. They have approved it. And this is a state permit that is over and out of our jurisdiction.
Right, this is actually planning board, because when they made this cul-de-sac out there, they were told they could put no more houses out there,
Is this a paper road?
huh?
Is this a paper road? There's no actual road out there yet?
Can you explain to me what that means?
Paper road means-
Paper road.
It means it got approved and it got put on paper.
Right,
Oh,
But
yes.
they've never, there's never.
Correct. If you drive by, there's trees, there's no
Yeah,
access. to
that's
get
what's
in.
called a paper road.
Correct. Okay, yes.
so if
Yeah.
this guy
Yeah.
comes and tries to put
Yeah.
houses in there.
Yeah.
He's violating,
Right. So that's what it's saying. So,
So retroactively, they'll make them go back and do stuff if they do put houses.
so essentially forest cutting plans are submitted in order to, thin the growth and so that it can promote certain type of growth of different levels of vegetation. And they're not, and because, there's compensation involved for forest cutting plans, it's not to be used, to level a property so that it can be built on and sold. So essentially, that's the cover letter that I just read. It's stating that we're aware that you have a subdivision on this property that you're doing this forest cutting plan, and we want to let you know that we're approving your forest cutting plan with your intention for this long-term forest. However, don't intend to build on it or you're going to be in violation of X, Y, and Z.
For how long?
Doesn't state.
doesn't say, this is 15 years ago, I think.
Do you know when the,
So for how long do they not want someone to go?
There's wetlands out there and it's near Route 2.
it doesn't state that, Christoph.
I know it doesn't say that, but I know where it is.
Christoph is asking for how long does the
Oh,
state
I don't.
expect the builders to build on the property, right?
After the,
After
after
the cut.
they allow the logging. They're allowing the logging, but they're saying you can't come back in.
Right.
And build. I'm just wondering how long that moratorium is at A and B. It seems to say by what you're saying that if you do come back and do it, we might retroactively make you go through the normal process, which would be conservation. So
Yeah, there's wetlands up in here and then. Yeah, there was a big, you remember
It
that?
actually says, I correct myself for the record, it says short-term harvest, which is harvest of the trees with the main intention of producing a short-term income with minimal consideration given to improving the future forest conditions, which often results in a forest dominated by poor quality and low-value species.
so that's
Okay,
already done.
So, and I think this letter was dated in December, and I think their start date was like last May.
December
So
13, it says.
yeah. They
This
can-
is just an FYI for us. There's nothing to do.
Unfortunately, it's over our jurisdiction. This is a
Yeah.
state permit that was issued.
So we don't even have to vote on this. right?
We do not have to vote on anything, so you guys know that.
Could you please give this to the building inspector?
Sure.
just so he knows that I talked to him about this tonight,
Sure,
and he had heard nothing about,
sure.
I don't know,
I would be glad to do so.
just some of what I mentioned, but neither him nor,
Were you here for that topic as well?
I was just wanted to, talk to the board for a minute, but I'm not on, off the cuff
Okay,
about something afterwards.
okay. Are you all set with that topic?
I'm all set.
Okay,
are you sure?
Yeah.
all right. Any
Okay.
chair or member comments?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. First off, any comments, any questions, anything for anybody? Mr. Andrews?
Well, no, I just,
Makes
what
sense.
is the process for this board to seek town council? Who is our town council?
You're requesting me to contact town council and I will.
And you're the process, but who is it? Or is it a revolving door? We don't know.
No, I do know. I just can't think of it right now. You put me on the spot.
Okay, all right. I'm curious, just, yeah, if you, just let me know. so that-
Arrington and something?
Yeah, okay. As long as we have. it. All right.
Yeah,
All right, yeah, that's it. Okay.
I will do that. I will do that. Yes.
So,
Do you wanna, do you wanna talk to us on television, Mr. Van Bennick, or do you want us to close the meeting?
When you close the meeting, I'll talk to you.
Okay.
Oh, I can say it too.
Yeah, you can.
I don't really care. I was just wondering, is there anything that is on when a contractor comes in, builds a house, you set certain conditions for the house.
Yep.
Certain limitations, but then that contractor sells the house
Yep.
to somebody
Yep.
who comes in, knows nothing about any of the provisions that you have set up.
Yep.
So limit their construction or things going on around the house, other than what was already there, already done.
Okay, so the order of conditions applies to, the property during the construction process.
Correct.
And, a certificate of compliance would be issued that they follow the order of conditions during the project.
Correct.
Once they sell the house, they should provide the Conservation Commission agent or contact information if they have any questions. If you see anything now that you feel is in violation of that, you can let me know and I can try to reach out to the resident.
Well, I'm just wondering, this was just a general
No,
thing, because
Absolutely, but at
the-
this point, it's gonna be separate from what the builder did. Now we have a new resident living there.
That's
and
right.
And they probably just need to be
but
educated.
I can see where many people that come into town, they buy a house. They don't know what,
Right.
what the conservation or any committee
Yeah.
has limited them to.
Yep.
Therefore, they come in, they're innocent, they come in, I want this out, I want this out. Even though you got a brook nearby.
Yep.
But, and they start cutting and going into this area. And I was just wondering if there was anything that was done or said, maybe by the person selling the house to the people. And I don't think anything ever
So-
goes to them.
I
So
don't think so either.
sometimes the certificate of compliance is included within the package.
Deed?
Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't.
So an example is the one that I gave during the meeting of the Victoria Lane, and I know about that because I dealt with that on the planning board
Yeah.
at that time. And the builder included on the deed or on the purchase and sales, it was very clearly stated that the residents were responsible for the pump stations for that development. But then they didn't realize it. And so they didn't realize it until one of the pumps broke and it's a $250,000 pump or whatever. Or until they entertain that thought. I don't remember exactly the chain of events, but then once they realize it, they say, well, geez, we can't really maintain a road. Then they come back to the town and say, hey, can you guys maintain this, which the town voted to. But I think what you're saying is true, for
Same
sure.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's, but then.
How do you,
How do you, you know,
how do you do it?
how do you do it? You know, you have somebody.
Houses change hands so many times.
Right, and there's only so much regulation that you can have or that we wanna have
That's
in
right.
town too.
I agree.
Yeah.
So as the agent, I do receive calls from residents that just say, I saw this occurring, or I saw this happening, you know, and they check in with me to see if it's a permittable thing. I'm happy to educate anybody if they reach out to me.
Okay,
They can email me at jcase@templetonma.gov and I'd be happy to help.
very good. That's all I have.
Awesome. Any other chair or member comments, gentlemen?
No.
No? Our next meeting would be Monday, March 18th, 2024 at 6:30. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Yes, you do. So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I second it.
All
I
those in
also-
favor?
Aye.